All right, so my name is Ceera Horton. I'm a licensed broker associate with Real Broker LLC. Today, I want to talk to you about interest rates. The interest rates are lower than they've been over the last year, and you're likely, what does that mean for me? That means that your monthly mortgage payment is going to be lower than it was a couple of months ago, and that this is a great time for you to enter the market. I've connected with grantl from CMG Home Loans to show us what your monthly mortgage payment would look like with today's interest rates, as well as to speak with us about some down payment assistance options that can help lower your out of pocket cost. Grant?
Hi there, everybody. Thanks for having me here, Sierra. Really excited to be here with you. I think our last webinar was a success, so I'm happy that we're doing another one. Something I want to start out is talking about is interest rates. Okay, yeah, so right now everyone's talking about interest rates. I feel like affordability is definitely like a big subject in real estate right now. And as of yesterday, we actually had our first rate cut in the last 9 months. So the Federal Reserve, if you guys have been keeping up, announced that they made their first cut of the year over the last 9 months. They haven't made any single cuts. They've just been staying the same. And yesterday, they cut it by 25 basis points. And that's a fancy way of saying that they cut it by 0.25%. Now, what does that mean for you? When the Feds cut interest rates, that directly affects consumer credit. Think about credit cards, car loans, student loans. All those rates go down. So people are saving money whenever they borrow any type of funds from those particular sources. Now, when it comes to mortgage interest rates, a lot of times it is a lagging indicator. We see a slight improvement in the Fed rates, and then mortgage interest rates soon follow. But something else that I would like to point out is there are a couple other factors to mortgage interest rates aside from the federal interest rates, which include the unemployment numbers, the inflation numbers, and overall how well the economy is doing. So essentially, a lot of times people think that when the economy is doing hot, that interest rates should be in a good place. But what the Federal Reserve likes to do is they like to cool down the economy. And when the economy is not doing so hot, when there's more unemployment out there, and when inflation is lower, that's when mortgage interest rates start to improve. So something that I want to do right now is share my screen. And this is an index that people should follow if they want to track which way mortgage interest rates are headed. This is the US 10-year Treasury note. And you can find this online on a couple of different sources. This website is called Market Watch. And the reason I'm pulling this up and why it's important to you is to demonstrate that interest rates are the lowest that they've been pretty much the entire year. So right now, the US 10-year Treasury is sitting at 4.1%. And if you take a look at this chart, this is a year-to-date chart from the beginning of 2025, you can see that at the very beginning, the US 10-year Treasury was up to 4.8. And now we are sitting at 4.1. So that is an improvement of about 0.7 or 0.8%. Now, what this means is that interest rates are trending downward, and that now is one of the best opportunities to get into a house. To demonstrate that point a little bit further, I went ahead and prepared this mortgage coach presentation to show you the difference that this could make on your monthly payment when buying a house. So because we're in a Tampa market, I used a $400,000 price point to demonstrate this monthly mortgage payment. If you were to buy a house at the beginning of the year, there's a very good possibility that your interest rate would have been close to 7%. And at that 7% interest rate, your monthly payment would have been right around $3,312 for a 30-year mortgage, assuming that you do a minimum down payment. Now, fast forward to today in September, the average interest rate for most people that are getting a conventional loan is sitting right at 6%. So the monthly payment decreases by about $250, and new monthly payment is sitting right around $3,057. Now, keep in mind this monthly payment can fluctuate depending on your taxes, your insurance, how much money you have to put down. But overall, if you're buying an average home in the Tampa market, you're looking at a $3,000 monthly payment. But let's say, for example, you are sitting outside of the Tampa market and you find a house for $200,000. Well, there's a good possibility that your mortgage payment could get chopped in half and you could be paying anywhere from $1,500 to about $2,000 per month. Something I did want to point out is the monthly payment difference from that rate drop is about $255 per month. I don't know about you, but $250 is a lot of money for people. I feel like that's a utility bill, that's a grocery bill, that's a phone bill, internet. You can find a lot of use for that money. And if you do $250 every single month for the year, that means you're saving about $3,000. So with those monthly savings, you could probably buy yourself a small little vacation for $3,000 and have a good time there. Moving forward, these savings do add up over time. Over the next 60 months or 5 years, that can come out to be as much as $20,000 in savings if you were to buy a house at that price point. And another thing I would like to point out is that the amount of interest and mortgage insurance that you pay over the life of the loan, that's a difference of about $100,000. So within that 1% difference of mortgage interest rates, you're saving about $100,000 over the life of the loan. And that's a lot of money right there. You can do a lot of stuff with $100,000, wouldn't you agree? So,
Absolutely.
um, all that to say is that, because the interest rates are on their way down, because the Federal Reserve is cutting rates, we're seeing a lot better of opportunity for people now more than ever to buy a house. And when it comes to the media, and once everyone else starts finding out that interest rates are on their way down, everyone that's been wanting to buy a house for the last 5 years is going to be entering the market. There's going to be a lot of competition. You're going to see multiple offers on the home that you want to buy. And usually the only thing that wins multiple offer situations is either offering more money or reducing the amount of contingency and safety that you have as a home buyer. So what we're advising people to do as we're entering Q4, statistically speaking, quarter 4 is usually always a buyer-friendly market. And with the additional news of, Q4 being a better market for buyers and also 2025 being a historically, you know, slower market, you can get some really good opportunities to buy a house before the new year starts and the spring buying season comes around. I think that this is probably the best opportunity to get seller credits, repairs done on your house, and any other type of request or price drops that you want to do with the seller of the home that you're buying. Now it's kind of like your last opportunity before the rest of the world finds out and it becomes very difficult to buy a house.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And those are some things that I was going to highlight as well. We want to encourage people to jump into the market for the simple fact that you are going to see seller credits. And what that is a seller's able to contribute to your closing costs up to a certain amount, depending on what your real estate agent is able to negotiate and the loan type that you actually use. So, with down payment assistance, seller concessions, negotiating your realtor fees, as well as repairs, this is a great time to jump into the market. If you are going to wait buyers, it's going to start to favor the sellers. And so, sellers, like Grant said, you're going to see that there's more competition, pent up demand, and increased prices. So, if you price your home correctly, stage it correctly, take great pictures, there's a great opportunity for you to enter the market as well. So, those that jump in now at the onset of this for the buyers, this is a great opportunity for you. Sellers, if you get with us and strategize, this is a great opportunity for you as well coming up.
Yep, absolutely. Very well said. And yeah, I want to touch on what you were talking about when it comes to seller credits. Typically, the limit for a seller credit when you're getting a home with a conventional loan, it is around 3% of the purchase price. Now, for people that are fortunate enough to be putting 20% down for their down payment, they're able to get a 6% seller credit with a conventional loan. But the good news is we still have the FHA loan for most people when they're buying a house, and they're able to get a 6% credit doing the minimum down payment of 3.5%. And if you think about it, a 6% seller credit on a $400,000 home, that's $24,000 that you can get from the seller if you can get the realtor to negotiate that and get the seller to agree. And like Ceera was saying, those seller credits can be used for a number of things. Either they can lower your cash to close. So in the previous example, the cash to close is right around $32,000. That means if you take away $24,000, it's going to be about $8,000 out of pocket to buy a home. And then, like she was also saying, we can use that in combination with down payment assistance. That way, you're required to bring no money to the closing table. And I think that kind of segues over to our next topic, which is some of the down payment assistance programs that are available for first-time home buyers in the state of Florida, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Perfect. So I'll share my screen real quick. There are three main down payment assistance programs in the market that we work in. Now, I will say that, depending on where you live, that's really going to determine which down payment assistance program works for you. I know the big one right now that everyone is talking about is Hometown Heroes. So Hometown Heroes, the way that that one works, it is based on eligible occupations. We had a really good webinar that we did on this one a couple weeks ago, so people can go over there and watch that. But in a nutshell, you can get up to $35,000 towards your down payment, and if you have one of those eligible occupations, you are eligible for the program. Now, there's also a couple other programs that are available statewide in Florida where you don't have to have a particular eligible occupation. One of those programs being the standard bond, and you can get an FHA loan, a VA loan, a USDA loan, or a conventional loan to sign up for this program. There's also a standard TBA and a plus TBA. And on this table, it shows you what the required credit score is, which is typically 640 for most down payment assistance programs. And it is also based on the income limits. We want to make sure that the person that is applying for the down payment assistance is within the 80% area median income. And on the right-hand side where it says that DPA or down payment assistance, you're able to get either $10,000 or $12,000 as down payment assistance, and that's anywhere in the state of Florida. And the other thing I would like to point out, whenever you're getting down payment assistance, the website eHousing Plus tells you exactly what the interest rate is going to be on your mortgage whenever you decide to use this program. So depending on which one you qualify for, that's going to determine the interest rate for the mortgage that you're getting. And if you have any questions about which program you qualify for, please reach out to me or Sierra, and we can definitely point you in the right direction. And I just want to highlight that the standard bond, the standard TBA, and the plus TBA is available statewide. So no matter where you're buying in Florida, you're eligible to use this program to help with your down payment or closing costs. Another one I would like to discuss, it is going to be the Hillsborough County Home Sweet Home, and it's available in a few different counties. So you can get it in Hillsborough County, the city of Tampa, Brevard County, Clay County, and also Jacksonville County. And the amount of assistance that you can receive, it is dependent on the county that you're residing in. Throughout Hillsborough County, you can get up to $15,000 towards your down payment or closing costs. If you're within the city of Tampa, that's going to be a $5,000 down payment assistance. And then for Brevard County, that's 15,000. Clay County, you can get 20,000, and then Jacksonville is also $15,000. As mentioned before, this is similar to the other down payment assistance programs where the FICO requirement is 640, and the interest rate on the Hillsborough County program is pretty good. It's at a 6.125%. That is fairly low, and I would say that's a little bit below what the market average is for a conventional loan. Now, the other program I would like to mention is the Pinellas Home Key program. This one is also similar with the requirements of the 660 credit score being the only difference. And inside of Pinellas County, you can get $10,000. And when it comes to Pasco and Polk County, it is $7.5 thousand. Now, the interest rate, if you're going to get a government loan, it's going to be 6%. And if you end up going with a conventional program, it's going to be closer to 6.5. And similar things as before, we got to make sure we can check the income limit, the sales price limit, and also make sure that you qualify with your debt to income ratio and everything else. Now, something I want to include about the three down payment assistance programs that we discussed, this is considered a silent second mortgage. So what happens is the money that you're borrowing from down payment assistance gets put in the second lien position. The reason it's called a silent second mortgage is because it is 0% interest. So that just means that the money that you borrow has no interest on it and it's not going to grow in value. It's always going to stay the same, which is a big benefit. It's one of the only 0% loans that you can get out there. And something else that I do want to point out is that this money will have to be repaid anytime that you sell or refinance your home. And a lot of times people get worried like, oh, I'm not going to have this money sitting around when I go to sell my house or when I go to refinance. But for that, we tell people, don't worry. There's something that we call real estate appreciation, which means that the value of your home increases a certain amount every single year. In the Tampa market, we see that appreciation is typically around 5% annually. So that means that your home is going to increase in value by 5% every single year. And if we do the math on the $400,000 average home price at 5%, your home's going to increase in value by about $20,000 every single year. So essentially, if you borrow $10,000 and you have $20,000 of equity within the first year of your home, you'll be able to refinance within the first or second year, and you'll be able to pay that money back through the equity in your home.
Thank you so much for sharing that information, Grant. Again, I just want to encourage you all. This is a great time to jump into the market. You have down payment assistance options available to you, seller concessions, more negotiation power for things like your realtor fees and your repairs. Sellers, if you're on the sidelines, again, this is a great time to jump into the market, get your strategy together, meet with Grant and I. I think Grant has a program actually that can help you in regards to selling your home. And so you can reach out to him to talk about that as well. But I am Ceera Horton, again, a licensed broker associate with Real Broker LLC. You can reach out to me at 813-440-2868 or Ceera Horton at ceerahorton.com. Grant, would you like to share your information as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, my name is Grant Lee. I work with CMG Home Loans. We're a top three lender in the country. You can reach me at my personal cell phone number, which is 813-618-9095. And if you want to email me, you can reach out at grantl@cmghomeloans.com. Thanks so much for having me here.
You are so welcome. We are dedicated and committed professionals that want to serve you, want to create an exceptional experience for you, and just know that we're connected to professionals in all states that want to serve at the same level that we do. So reach out to us with any questions, and we look forward to earning your business. Thanks.